Tell me about yourself. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? How do you troubleshoot a computer that is running slow? What steps would you take if a user cannot connect to the network? Explain the difference between a router and a switch. How would you handle a situation where a user has forgotten their password? What are the common causes of a BSOD, blue screen of death? How do you prioritize IT support requests? What would you do if a printer is not working, and how would you troubleshoot it? Explain the steps for mapping a network drive in Windows. How do you resolve DNS issues? What is the difference between Active Directory and Azure Active Directory? What is DHCP, and how does it work? How would you recover a file that was accidentally deleted? Explain the process of setting up a new workstation. What are the different types of backups, and how would you restore a backup? How do you handle email configuration issues? What would you do if a user reports that their system is infected with malware? Can you explain the concept of VPNs and how they work? What tools do you use for remote desktop troubleshooting? How do you monitor network performance? Describe how you would troubleshoot hardware versus software issues. What are some common issues in Windows 10 11th, and how do you fix them? How do you upgrade from Windows Home to Windows Pro? What is the purpose of Safe Mode in Windows, and when would you use it? How do you perform a clean install of Windows? What are group policies in Active Directory, and how are they used? How would you handle a situation where Microsoft Outlook is not syncing? Explain how to manage users in Office 365. What is the difference between IMAP and POP3 email protocols? Can you explain how to use PowerShell to manage users in Active Directory? How do you perform system diagnostics on Windows and troubleshoot issues? What is the OSI model, and why is it important? What are the differences between TCP and UDP? What steps would you take to secure a wireless network? What is port forwarding, and when would you use it? What is a firewall, and how does it protect a network? How do you ensure network security in an organization? How would you deal with a suspected security breach? Explain how two-factor authentication works. How would you troubleshoot intermittent network connectivity issues? What is the difference between a static IP and a dynamic IP? What is the importance of patch management in IT security? How do you explain technical issues to non-technical users? Can you describe a time when you had to handle a difficult user? What steps do you take to ensure customer satisfaction in IT support? How do you stay calm under pressure when solving a critical IT issue? How do you balance multiple IT support tickets at once? Describe a situation where you resolved a technical issue that had been escalated to you. How do you manage expectations when dealing with users experiencing downtime? What would you do if a critical server went down during working hours? How do you handle situations where the root cause of an issue is unclear? Can you give an example of a challenging IT problem you solved? How would you deal with conflicting priorities in IT support? How do you approach diagnosing an issue when you don't know the solution right away? What tools do you use for network monitoring? Which remote desktop tools do you have experience with? Can you explain the purpose of using a ticketing system in IT support? What are the most common antivirus tools, and how do you handle virus removal? What tools do you use to clone or image a hard drive? What is virtualization, and how do you manage virtual machines? How do you manage cloud-based services like Office 365 or Azure? What are the benefits of using cloud computing in IT support? Can you explain how to set up a virtual machine in Azure? Explain the difference between RAID 0, RAID 1, and RAID 5. What is the role of DNS in a network? Can you explain the importance of software updates and patches? What are the most common reasons for hardware failure? What is the role of IT support in disaster recovery? What certifications or training have you completed to enhance your IT support skills? Tell me about a time when you went above and beyond for a customer. What is the most challenging IT issue you've faced, and how did you resolve it? Why do you want to work in IT support? Describe a situation where you had to learn a new technology quickly to solve a problem. How do you keep yourself updated with the latest technology trends?